Donald Trump is holding a rally today to mark 100 days since he returned to the White House. The event is taking place in Michigan, one of the key battleground swing states he flipped from the Democrats last year. The president has described his first 100 days as historic, but it's been far from smooth sailing. He's moved at breakneck speed with the impact felt around the world. Too impatient to wait for legislation, he's ruled mostly by issuing executive orders, using them to upend global trade with his tariff regime, dismantle significant parts of the US government, and pioneer a tough crackdown on illegal immigration, which has brought him into conflict with the courts, while continuing to assert that he wishes to take over Greenland, Canada, the Panama Canal, and even Gaza. Opinion polls suggest he has the lowest approval rating of any president at this stage in their term in the last 80 years. But Mr. Trump shows no sign of slowing down, and with 100 days gone, there are 1,360 to go. Well, for more on President Trump's first 100 days in office, I'm joined now on the line from Sacramento in California by the chief Republican strategist, Errol Morkoc. Very good to see you, Errol, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. I mean, let's face it, 100 days is not a very long time, is it? But it's usually the moment we take stock of an administration. And in the case of Donald Trump's second term, a lot has happened, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And 100 days is the traditional benchmark we go by. And if you don't give the 100 days, I think it's not fair. But now that we're here, we're open to the criticism, but we're also happy to put our achievements first. And the first thing we point to is the border. We shut the border down to basically zero crossings. 20 million people came in this country unregistered. You couple that with the deportations, you couple that with the law and order that's been brought back to the American ethos, you can say. Adding on things like energy dominance that Donald Trump is stressing, refilling the strategic petroleum reserve that Joe Biden emptied for political gain. You look at his purge of the woke DEI policies that had plagued America. Something personal to me, I went to public school my entire life, destroying the Department of Education that has held back myself and so many of my friends in our education and our future. Something like that. These kind of policies that resonate with real Americans, which is why he won the working class. The reason why he is in Detroit today is specifically because he promised all of those auto workers he would put those tariffs. These are promises that were made to Detroit from 1970 until today. Detroit, by the way, was the wealthiest city and the wealthiest country in the world in 1960. Highest GDP of any city in the world, went bankrupt in 2008 because of 5 decades of mismanagement. And that's why Trump is there, because these tariffs and these promises were made to the American worker. And then on top of that, you have a very exciting moments of pardons. You saw the J6 pardons for the political prisoners that our party and our voters felt were improperly imprisoned. Then you go into the tariffs. You look at what the tariffs are doing for restructuring global trade, the new deals made with India to counterbalance China, and the fact that the world is coming to make a deal with Donald Trump, and we're making bilateral agreements that are going to be very focused and specific. And these are all the positives that we can point to, along with opening up the Strait of Hormuz, destroying those Houthi outposts, and potentially bringing a peace deal Donald Trump has talked about between Congo and Rwanda. So there's many broad spectrum things we can look at, but for the people who voted for Donald Trump, which was the majority of Americans, I think they would be giving him a very high grade for this first 100 days.
Well, I mean, Errol, I think I'm inclined to agree with you on the issue of tackling illegal immigration. I mean, he's certainly pushed through the boundaries, and we've had people at the US border. We've spoken to border sort of guards and so on, and they say that the number of people coming through is significantly down. So to that extent, he's certainly achieved something. But of course, the other big issue is the economy. I mean, he made a promise saying on day one he would immediately bring prices down and put more money in people's pockets. But that hasn't happened, has it?
Well, it certainly has happened in every state outside of California. Food prices are down in every state. The price of petrol is down in every single state except for California. Inflation is down, and the cost of everyday goods has actually come down for the majority of Americans. And these tariffs, for example, let's take an example with farming. Okay, so if there's tariffs put on U.S. farm goods, specifically in this case, there's a lot of tariffs put on pork. Well, now China's not taking U.S. pork. U.S. pork prices domestically are collapsing. So for your average person who's not a transnational equity holder, the 12% of Americans who own 80, 90% of the stock market, they've seen a 7 to 10% haircut depending on how well their money is managed. But for your average American who doesn't have these equities, they have seen real tangible decreases. And when you have prices that go up because of inflation, you can't bring the price down through deflation unless you do a lot of things, but you can stop those prices from rising. And on the other side, you have incoming tax relief. People can tell it's coming. You see the markets are volatile, but inside of volatility, there's also a lot of opportunity. So I would push back. I really think that the average American person, when they get their uplift, they get it at the gas pump. When the price of gas comes down 30%, their share of the gas industry is up 30%. When the price of food comes down, that's almost a bonus to them. So that's what the regular people are seeing. They have seen tangible benefits, and they have seen what Donald Trump has promised them. Now, as we go into the tariffs taking in effect, and imported goods from China are going to this month start going through the roof, you're going to start seeing some pushback, certainly on consumer items. But I think it's important to recognize that we only import 13.6% of our goods from China, down from 21 or 22% back when Trump was first elected. So it's not the catch-22 that everybody sees. China is going to have to negotiate, and the American people, meanwhile, are mostly non-stockholders who are seeing benefits and uplift in their communities, and we're going to try to keep that going for them.
Well, I'd say that a lot of people would disagree with your assessment there about prices coming down, but I mean, I don't want to sort of get into a protracted argument about that. I mean, one indication of the mood of Americans is this poll, the latest poll, suggesting Mr. Trump's approval rating is plummeting. I mean, in fact, he's got the lowest approval rating of any president at this stage in their term in the last 80 years. So many Americans clearly aren't happy with him, are they?
I would point everybody to look at that poll by ABC and realize that they interviewed 100 people. That was a poll sample size of 100 people. These are the same people who said that, all the other stats, Donald Trump's not going to get elected, all the stuff they put out there, and all of it ended up being effectively fake news. I do not believe that he has the lowest approval rating in history. I think that poll is very skewed, and if you did an actual broad spectrum poll that had a bigger sample size, I think you'd see something different. So I would push back on that. But in the end, when you have uncertainty and a lot of new changes, perhaps people are uncertain about that or are confused. But ultimately, Donald Trump is not going to be elected again. This is his final 4-year term, so his interest in his short-term approval rating is a lot lower than perhaps traditionally would be considered by a U.S. president.
Well, you certainly have a point there. Meanwhile, he continues to assert his desire to take over Greenland, Canada, the Panama Canal, and even Gaza. And he's getting into bed with Vladimir Putin. I mean, that's brought him into conflict with many of America's allies, hasn't it?
Well, we're trying to bring end to the war. We're not in bed with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin's a bloodthirsty dictator, and Donald Trump is the one who gave Javelin missiles to Ukraine when Obama gave them bed sheets. As insofar as the Panama Canal, we built the Panama Canal. The idea that our Navy is being charged to go through the Panama Canal is preposterous. And Panama's leader came out with Rubio and said that they're going to move away from China, move away from BRICS, and that's what's important. And as far as our allies in Europe, they bought more Russian oil than aid they gave to Ukraine. So there's not a lot of legs for them to stand on. They haven't pulled their part, and that's why they are the third wealthiest continent on Earth right now. They've lost all of their privilege, and now they're fighting their only ally who's been defending them for 75 years. It's sad to see, but not expected by ungrateful people.
So with 100 days gone, there are 1,360 to go. I mean, what can we expect going forward? Or perhaps that's too frightening to contemplate? I mean, will America and the world still exist?
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to exist in a better form. We're going to have bilateral agreements. We're going to push for peace in the Middle East. You saw Donald Trump rejected the idea to strike Iran, still focusing on peace and detente and conversation. We're going to remake the world order in terms of trade and make it actually free trade. No tariff we ever put was punitive. They were all reciprocal. You're tariffing us, we're tariffing you to create equal trade. I think the future is bright for everybody. And if Donald Trump is allowed to do what he has promised to do, it's going to be a more verdant future for everybody, especially when you consider the loss of life in Ukraine being the paramount focus. Thousands and thousands of young men dying every day. If Donald Trump can end that, which he will do, he deserves a Nobel Prize, and we're excited to see that.
Errol, thank you very much indeed. Errol
Thank you.
Morkoc is Chief Republican Strategist. He was talking to me on the line there from Sacramento in California.